Guys, what is up? It is Greg here, and here at the Vinyl Rundown, we went to a flea market with the family and brought home a small pile of incredibly mediocre and terrible records. So you get to sit through and enjoy them with me. Oh, wait, I forgot to put on the record. Hold on. Try to keep it low. Yeah, what are we listening to? Keeping it very low. New haircut too. A lot of disasters going on in my life, as you can tell. The record we're hearing right now, I love the cover, first of all. Flea market find for $1. Jazz Accordion by Joe Basile, or Basile. He's a French guy. So how do you say that with a French accent? The Joe Basile and his orchestra. Jazz Accordion. Cool cover. And this song you may recognize. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm keeping it low. Lullaby of Birdland by George Shearing. This is on, what label is this on? Is this on a label? It says Audio Fidelity Records, AF. Never heard of that. As if. But it's got, you know, standard tunes on it. Pennies from Heaven, Got My Love to Keep Me Warm, Sunny Side of the Street. This is one of those sort of cheesy, Ray Conniffy-like band leader orchestrators from the 50s and 60s. French guy, more popular in France, more well-known in Europe than in the US. But when you're at a flea market and you got that money burning a hole in your pocket and you come across a guy selling records for $1 each, this is the kind of stuff you end up with. It's actually a reasonably decent guitar solo here. Can you hear the guitar solo? Okay, keeping it down. Keeping the sound down so the copyright gremlins don't get us. Okay, what else we got? For $1. Look at her. Would you get this for $1? Marianne Faithfull. Her first record, This Little Bird, on Decca. Decca, and it's, what do you call it? Tip-on, what do you call it? Tip-on cover, sleeve, that thin European, shiny, weird covers that they have in Europe. And this is I want to say 1965. Mono, it's mono, and it's missing a chunk of record there, a chunk of sleeve, which it's beat up, okay. It sounds okay. It sounds reasonably okay on my crummy system over there. Not the good system over here. There's a crummy system over there for crummy records. Marianne Faithfull. So I didn't know that much about her because we have some of her later records, but she had a hit with this record, believe it or not, As Tears Go By. Oh, that's a Stone song. No, it was a Marianne Faithfull song before it was a Stone song. She was dating Mick Jagger, and they wrote the song, and I don't know if they wrote it for her, but she released it like a year before the Stones did and had a hit with it. And she actually spent a lot of time hanging out with the Stones, and they wrote some songs for her. I think she sang on at least one record. Oh, she co-wrote Sister Morphine, because that was her thing. She got very into drugs and heroin and became homeless. And that's what destroyed her voice. So if you only know her from the late 70s and 80s, she did that song Broken English. That's because her voice was really destroyed from the ravages of drugs. But there she is as a lovely 17-year-old. Don't let your 17-year-olds hang out with rock stars like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Just a word to the wise. But interesting record for $1. Some of these records cost more than $1, but it doesn't matter, does it? My son wanted this one. The Carpenters, Close to You. Do I know what year this was? This was one of their bigger records because it had some big hits on it. We've Only Just Begun by the diminutive Paul Williams, great songwriter. And Help by the Beatles, but that was not a hit for them. Close to You, They Long to Be, by Burt Bacharach. So that was a mega hit for both him and them. A&M Records, as you probably know. And interesting that some of the credits are on here. You know, A lot of the studio musician Wrecking Crew stuff didn't get credited, but here it says drums by Karen Carpenter and Hal Blaine. Hal Blaine, Wrecking Crew drummer, who I got to meet once in the early 80s. Close to You by the Carpenters. They long to be close to... Quit singing, Greg. We don't want to hear singing. Okay, I won't sing. Here's a cool record for a couple bucks. The Animals. Animalization. I think this is 66. Animalization by the Animals was also released in Europe under Animalism. And there's your band members. Can I pick out which one is Eric Burdon? I think that's Eric Burdon. I think. I didn't realize there were two versions of the Animals. The Animals, the original Animals, and they kind of broke up and reformed as Eric Burdon and the Animals. This has a lot of strange songs on it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the composers. Inner sleeve, original inner sleeve. Let's see. That looks like Errol Gardner to me. Is that Errol Gardner, the piano player? Yes, it is. And who else? The Gentrys. Who are they? I don't know. Herman's Hermits. My son just went to see them a couple weeks ago. My son is into the 60s music more than I am. Connie Francis, Roy Orbison. These are nice black and white photos. There's the Animals. And Lainey Kazan. Kazan. Was she related to the movie guy Kazan? I don't know. Merv Griffin, creator of our favorite television show, Jeopardy. What's with the hair? I wanted to see if it listed the composers on here. This record, it's a little iffy. What do you want for a couple bucks? We haven't listened to this yet. Let's see. Composers. C.C. Ryder. Everyone knows that song. I think that's a terrible song. Gin House Blues by Fletcher Henderson. We're going all the way back to the 1920s. Fletcher Henderson. How many of you even have heard of Fletcher Henderson? He was like the Duke Ellington of his day before Duke Ellington. Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry. I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. Don't Bring Me Down by Carole King. All kinds of hits. They actually had 2 or 3 hits off this record in the 60s. So there you go. I did spin clean all these. Animalization by the Animals. Greg, you were making a long video for some of the crappiest records. Well, that's what my fans want. We don't have any fans. I'm putting it away. Just hold on. Sliding it back in, as they say. Okay. It gets even better, so just keep watching. It gets even better. Oh, I forgot to show you the Decca. I took it out to check the label, but that's the Decca from London for Marianne Faithfull. And you can see this is a bit thrashed. Okay, let's fast forward to 1973. This is like the newest record in the whole bunch. 1973, that's 50 years ago. Woody Herman, the Thundering Woody Herman. And this is called, can you see it? Giant Steps. Again, for $1, I'm gonna buy a bizarre record like this. Woody Herman, amazing big band leader. And he made his first record in 1940 and his last record in 1987. He was the only guy who kept doing the big band thing throughout the big band era, and he tried to keep it relevant in the 50s and 60s and 70s, 80s. He tried to keep it relevant by always digging into popular music and interpreting those tunes. Let's just check the label here. What do we got here? Ooh, the Fantasy label. Fantasy, San Francisco label with Cal Tjader and Vince Guaraldi, and a respectable jazz label in its day. What was I going to say about Woody Herman? Oh, this album, I looked it up. This album won a Grammy for Best Big Band Record in 1973. And like I say, nobody was keeping big band music alive back then. So there are some cool tunes on here. There's a Chick Corea tune, A Song for You by Leon Russell. It's a great tune. Freedom Jazz Dance by Eddie Harris. That is a great tune. People like Miles Davis play that. A George Gable's tune, Think of Me, which I don't know. Bebop and Roses by Alan Broadbent. Alan Broadbent's a brilliant piano player. He doesn't play on here. Andy Laverne, who I've heard of, plays piano. Joe Beck plays guitar. A bunch of other people. And that's about all. Oh, engineered by Phil Ramone. Anyway, check out I love these old-time record store labels. Can you see that? Music Man Murray on Santa Monica Boulevard here in LA. Somebody paid $3.79 for Woody Herman. Woody Herman, his band was called The Herd, and then the Thundering Herd. He had all these different variations on the Herd. The new Herd, the original Herd, the best Herd, Tartar Control Herd, you know. Thanks for listening to the bad jokes. This record was given to us by one of the booth owners that wanted it out of her booth. Jackson 5. Gorgeous cover. Maybe Tomorrow by the Jackson 5. Y'all remember what Michael Jackson used to look like? Yeah, that's the same guy that was on Thriller. That's the same guy when he still looked like Michael Jackson. And what year is this? Don't know. I don't really know the tunes on here. And you guys, 16 Candles. Blah, blah, blah. Honey Child. Most of the songs are credited to The Corporation, which I think is their father's way of stealing all the royalties, I guess. I don't know. Look at the Fringe. Look at the beautiful Fringe. This has got to be 1971 or 2, right? Beautiful photo. So one cool thing about this, let me show you the inside. Motown, original Motown label. But one very cool thing with this record, like they used to do in the olden days, the promotional sleeve. That means you cut along the dotted line, you send in your cash, $3 cash, whatever, and you can buy all these goodies. You can buy 500 Jackson 5 stickers for $1 each, for $500. The photo album, giant size poster, the stationery, autographed portraits, all these little doodads were like 50 cents to $1 plus 25 cents postage. So that was one way record companies used to steal the money of little kids in the olden days, the little fan club goodies. We're not done, guys. There's one more. If you can stay awake from this accordion music, maybe I'll turn it down. Wait, guys, we're not done. I saved the not quite best for last. Okay. You know, I'm looking for weird jazz records. Here we go. We got some jazz flute going. We got Father Herrera and the trio ESP going to church. And he is playing some jazz flute. This is on the Enterprise label, which I've never heard of, distributed by Atlantic in 1968. This is a weird record. I like weird records, but this is it's not free jazz, it's just weird because the guy's literally a pastor, and before or in the middle of every song, there's either a prayer or a Bible story or some sort of religious thing. So weird, very weird. There's a acceptable version of Miles Davis' the So What tune, but overall the jazz is, below average, mediocre. What would you expect? But for $1, it's the type of record that appeals to me because the cover's kind of cool. And there's a dude playing the flute in church. Okay, guys, that is about 6 mediocre records. What's worse than mediocre? Crummy records? 6 mediocre and or crummy records from a flea market. We paid $15 to get into the flea market, and I think we paid $8 or $9 for all these records. And of course, there was an altercation at the end where the security guard grabbed my breast to yank my sticker off. You know, you go in to prove that you paid. They put a sticker on you when you leave. You know, they want the sticker back. They want the piece of crap little sticker back, and I'm like, okay, I got very upset by that. That's it, guys. Let me know if you've heard of any of these terrible records, or if you have them, or if you, I don't know. That's it, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.